Hi, everyone. Welcome aboard. This is Amar Sheth at Sales for Life, and you're with me for another social tool series. And I'm really happy with my guest today, and I'm super happy that they're spending time to actually come on the show. So I'd like to introduce you to Jason Nochlin. He's the VP of Product Development at GaggleAMP. Jason, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Omar. Very happy to be here.
Fantastic. So, Jason, I've been following GaggleAMP for quite some time. I think it's one of the smartest products in the world of social media today in terms of employee advocacy, in terms of aligning sales and marketing better. I'd like for you to provide a bit of an overview of the tool to our audience, because we have a lot of marketing professionals that watch this and that listen to this. Before we launch Jason, just give the audience a bit of a background as to why you started GaggleAMP, what's the vision behind it, and what are you really trying to help organizations achieve?
Sure. So the GaggleAMP was originally founded by marketers. My co-founder, Glenn Gaudet, was actually interviewing to be a CMO when he pitched the idea. He was working with a 1,000-person company that had not done anything on social media, and all of their competitors were way ahead of them. So in the interview to the CEO, he pitched them on this idea of, hey, let's leverage the asset we already have, our employees. And he went home and that tool didn't exist. So he decided to create it and turned down the job and founded GaggleAMP. I came on board a couple months later as the head of product development. And that was the initial vision for GaggleAMP, was being able to bring the content that your marketing department is already expending effort to create, generating more results for it by having other employees in the company share it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great story. It's one of those, bootstrap stories that I love to hear from entrepreneurs. I think marketers must love you. I mean, if marketers don't know about this category, I would be a little bit surprised and shocked. But I think by and large, when marketers come and take a look at you, Jason, they probably love the value because, this is how I think of it, at least. Marketers spend 4, 5, maybe 6 hours creating a blog. They spend 30, 40, 50 hours creating white papers, plus all of the other amazing assets that are out there. And sales is just not sharing it. From a social selling perspective, I can see the value of sharing content. Are you seeing any challenges as you kind of present GaggleAMP as a tool to marketers?
Marketers, marketers love the solution. It really, on top of what, in terms of all the effort the marketing department as a whole is expending creating content, the social media managers specifically spend about, on average, 60% of their time just turning that content into socially packaged.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they're spending all this time on creation, they're really accountable towards the results. So we can take that effort that they're already expending, and we run into a lot of companies that have an initial idea of the concept. They might have tried sending a weekly email to the employees with tweets to copy and to paste into Twitter, but they don't have that way to really track the results or even track the participation of how many of the employees are doing it. So bringing in GaggleAMP, they can get started in just 5 minutes, and they now have a way to take that content and send it to the employees, and specifically salespeople, but it could be other departments of the company, in a way that's very easy for the employee to take them up on it. And in most cases, especially with sales, it comes down to just the amount of time and effort they have to spend on it. They would love to help marketing out and promote the content, but if you don't make it easy enough for them, then you won't see the results. So in a lot of cases, even in just a 1-week trial of GaggleAMP, they'll see dozens or even up into hundreds of employees getting on board and sharing content. So the impact is real, and it's very simple to get started.
That's incredible. Wow, in less than 1 week. Jason, I'm going to turn the floor over to you, and I'm going to have you demo GaggleAMP for us. So feel free to
Sure,
start.
happy to. So what we're looking at here, so just to back up, from a high level, the GaggleAMP, what we do is offer you what we call your Gaggle. So this is your group of employees, or it could be other stakeholders, but typically companies start with their employees since they're the most immediately available, and put them into this group we call the Gaggle. And then the Gaggle consists of those people plus a content stream. Now, some companies might do a Gaggle for all the employees, Others will break it up by region or product lines. Just depends on how their organization is configured. And when they then invite the employees to join the Gaggle, and the employees have the view we're looking at right here, which is what we call the member view. And the idea here is to make it as simple as possible for the employee to take action. So we give them two options. With each piece of content, they can say, yes, share this, and because I've already connected my Twitter account, this particular message would go right out onto Twitter, or I can say no thanks. So it doesn't really get much simpler than that binary call to action, and because of the simplicity, we see a lot of results. And that's at the core of it. Other than just sharing content on, say, Twitter or LinkedIn, we also have a number of actions that the employee can take care of, which I'll show on the manager side. But one of them is right here, like a video on YouTube. So now, even our solution's been expanding outside of just social media to some of the other content channels out there. So
that's fantastic.
Because I received this action, when I click this button, I'll be taken to YouTube where I can watch and then like this video. So it's a very powerful way to engage the employees. Is really that grassroots marketing effort to get the people who are connecting with your buyers directly active and turning them into thought leaders on their online presence.
Yeah, absolutely. I see something interesting here. You have a points column. Does that mean you're gamifying this as well?
Yes. So each message has points, and for most companies that goes into the leaderboard, which some people put this up in the office, but the employees really love it as a way to get recognition for the efforts they're putting out on social. And you can see here, once they're on the leaderboard, the other employees have a chance to follow the top employees. So it positively reinforces the socially active employees.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So basically, you can share to Twitter instantly at the push of a button. You can share to LinkedIn at the push of a button. And now you're saying you're incorporating other types of media or other types of social platforms like YouTube in here as well.
Yes. So we can go over to the manager side. So this is the member side of the tool. So this is where the employee or other stakeholder is going to come to get the content and take action. And they can also they can get notified that there's new content through an email, through our mobile app, or through a browser extension. The manager side, which I'll hop over to, is the view that the marketer gets to manage all the activity in their Gaggle. So over here, there's three primary things that they're doing. One is putting new content in, two is inviting and managing the members, and three is viewing the reports. So if I go over here to where I create a new activity, you can see the richness of things that we've added that you can do through your Gaggle. So we have the share on Twitter, share on LinkedIn, retweet on Twitter, and then there's all these other actions across social media, mobile, grassroots marketing, and other things even within the company. So we mentioned YouTube, which we saw on the other side. We've also recently added the ability to review the company on Facebook, Glassdoor, and Indeed. So now, as a marketer, not only are you driving results through traffic and through the messages that people are sharing, you're also able to help the HR department out by proactively getting hopefully good reviews on the recruitment sites.
So basically, GaggleAMP is not just a social, or rather a sales and marketing alignment platform. You've looked at this holistically as it's a social amplification tool, period, and it has potential to touch every single department in the organization.
Yes, we really see it as the employee's marketing dashboard. So especially in the online world that we live in, the employees have just as much of a brand and influence in their networks as the company does in its networks. So the vision for this is really to tap into that across all segments of marketing, whether that's social, whether that's the broader online picture, or recruiting, or another department inside of the company.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Jason, can I ask you to go one screen behind this where you actually had the data on the clicks and everything like that?
Sure. So that was
on the dashboard, right? So basically, you have a collective and a cumulative view of everything. So when you look at things like, say, total message reach, what is that specifically, if I may ask?
So message reach is the total potential of followers, connections, that could have seen a message shared by a member.
Wow.
So you can think of that as impressions, and the way we show ROI on this is by comparing it to CPM. So what are you paying to get 1,000,000 or 1,000 impressions on other ad networks? You can look in GaggleAMP and say, okay, we got this much reach in this case 330 million. What would that have cost us to attain through the advertising networks? And the social marketers love this as a way to really justify their, which usually much smaller budget to the heads of marketing when compared to the advertising budgets.
That
And we
is
do the same with
absolutely,
CPC as well.
yeah, that's brilliant that you've actually baked that directly in right into the dashboard and it's real time, right?
Yeah, everyone
Really, really
says
sharp.
what's the value of social? How do I show ROI? So we
Yeah.
decided to put it right up front.
Yeah, wow, that's really neat. Jason, any other features to show our members today?
So there's some other tools specifically for salespeople in the reporting. So one of the ones that we've added recently, or not so recently anymore. It need to be 4 years of being here just goes by so fast. So I have to catch myself on the timing.
Yeah.
But we have the what we call the click prospector, which does a lookup on which companies are clicking on your links. So as a marketer, you can now go back to the sales team with this report and say, what are the companies that we're influencing with our social messaging? So in this case, we have IBM. If IBM is in my target, I can see which messages they looked at, when, and how many, and really get an idea of, are we reaching the right companies, especially for a B2B sales team. Are we reaching the right companies that we're targeting? And if we're not, what can we do to better align our messaging to those companies?
Yeah, that's really smart. I love that feature. Jason, this has been great. I really appreciate the overview of the product. My last question, any parting words from you for marketers as they try to figure out how to make better use of their sales reps' social networks? What are some words of encouragement or advice you would give them?
The biggest thing we found is just make it easy for them and find out those baby steps of the low-hanging fruits that you can empower your sales reps with or other employee groups to be more active on social and take advantage of the tools that are in front of them. I mean, most salespeople are spending all day on LinkedIn prospecting, and they don't use any of that time, and doing research, they don't use any of that time to do a status update and really build their own brand. So there's a lot of low-hanging fruit out there that you can really tap into, and starting with baby steps like anything is the easiest way to get started and to show the impact.
Great advice. Jason, thanks again for being here. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
your time. And to the viewers watching this, definitely contact Jason, connect with him on LinkedIn, reach out on Twitter, etc. And check out GaggleAMP. It's, as you can see, it's a really simple way to take social packages and just reach broad amplification across the board. So, Jason, thanks once again. I appreciate your time.
Yep. Thank you, Amar.